leadership in Australia. We've talked about Trumpy at length. Very admirable leader. Has his flaws, but fucking unbelievable leader. And what he's done for the US already for the inauguration is just so impressive. But you look at the likes of the Argentinian president,
Javier Milei, great man.
Amazing turnaround over there. The president of El Salvador.
Yes.
Sorry, can't pronounce his name. It's a long one. Tongue twister, but an unbelievable story. Unbelievable accomplishment, what he's done over there. There's so many great leaders emerging, and as you said before, the pendulum is swinging, which is awesome to see. We've just elucidated some problems here in Australia, and it's great to see that the public are fighting back. But seemingly the horizon in terms of leadership options here is quite bleak. So where do we go, and how do you see this panning out?
Yeah, well, we talked. We had a slightly delusional conversation. It was a dream. We were kind of dreaming about a future where Australia has a real leader, weren't we?
Yeah.
In the Trumpian era, you do, and the Javier Mileis of the world, you certainly look for that inspiring leader who can actually stand up against a whole system.
And the Hungarian one, by the way.
Viktor Orban, yeah, don't know much about him, but, from all reports. But yes, an inspiring leader, Nath, is definitely what Australia needs, and a change maker. I think we are one of those countries that's, it is to a certain extent indoctrinated. It's stuck. It's stuck behind a system of that kind of political class establishment we always talk about as really being a huge problem and blockade to real prosperity. And so I think you have that in the Liberal Party, sadly, even though I think there's promise with Dutton. I think Dutton has some signs that he is a leader, except I doubt he will be able to lead in the way in which would lead to his potential, given the party will restrict him at every turn, would be my guess.
Yeah.
And the factions in the Liberal Party are problematic, but I do think that's personally, I do think that's a much better alternative to the current government. But yeah, it is an issue, Nath, because Australia's a little bit at a crossroads, I think, and we're not quite there. There's no pathway to a really inspiring government, a real change-making government. However, next election we will see a change. Maybe the Liberal Party can surprise us. What do you think?
No, yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. I don't have a very optimistic view. We need a renegade to emerge, whether it's an independent one or someone that just overthrows the libs. Yeah, I don't have the answers, but you can bet your bottom dollar that next year our content will be very similar to what we've done for the US election. We'll be exposing everyone for everything, and we'll be certainly pushing the public consciousness narrative, whatever that may be, for the broader Australian consciousness. But until it all happens, we've just got to hope that either Dutton transforms a little bit, or some of the deeply embedded political figures that don't really move on these issues that we talk about are removed. But I don't know how that all pans out.
Yeah, and maybe it's the formation, just speculating here, but maybe it's the formation of a new party, Nath. I've thought for a long time that the Liberal Party splitting in two, a more moderate version of the Liberal Party, probably more centre, even centre-left, honestly, would be appropriate to make room for a more conservative Liberal Party. Or, failing that, a new party entirely, a new mainstream, properly conservative party, which Australia fundamentally lacks. With respect to One Nation and United Australia Party to date, they're not as credible or they're not certainly as mainstream as is required to even be a remote chance of getting into office. So, yeah, I do think a shake-up might happen. I'm just not sure how it will happen. And the independents, I think the Teals have shown that there is a hunger. And that's left leaning, but there is a hunger. And Greens, the prosperity of the Greens and their growth, which, I'm not the hugest fan of, but I think their popularity has shown that, again, there is an appetite for a new party to emerge. I just think the appetite will be, the people that have been most starved are the Conservatives on the right. And it's not far right for all those lunatics who want to categorize anything as far right these days. It's just a more modern conservative party that I think Australia is crying out for, that I think would be a very good chance of serving in government for quite a long time. So we'll see how it pans out, Nath, but we're going to cover Ozpol quite a lot in the lead up to the next election. And, we've copped a couple of messages, both of us, asking us why we care so much about US policy, US election. Well, it's paramount. It shapes Australian policy. It shapes the Australian cultural psyche. And it's fundamentally critical to how our society operates and functions. So we have to stay cognizant and very, very on top of and aware of the US trends, which we're very excited about.
Yeah.
But we'll get more localized into Oz politics in the next 6 months, which will be a journey. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, it'll be exciting.